Bossman Show. We're joined by the new coach of the SIUE Cougars, Coach John Harris. Coach, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, doing great.
Coach, I want to first congratulate you on getting the job at SIUE, your hometown, Edwardsville. And so what does it mean to you to come back home, being a hometown Edwardsville boy? How's it been to come back home, feeling to coach the team in your hometown and try to lead them back to prominence?
You know, a very unique situation. Obviously blessed to have the opportunity, but it's rare that you're able to do this in your hometown, especially if your first time around. These jobs are so hard to come by, and for me to have the opportunity to do it here at home with friends and family still in the area is a special opportunity.
And just talk about how the community has been treating you, the Edwardsville community, SIUE Nation has been treating you since you've been back and you got hired with this great opportunity to lead the Cougars.
Yeah, I think everybody's really been excited. I mean, there's a buzz around town. People are excited to have the opportunity to, again, spend some more time with me and have me back in the area. Honestly, it's been such a whirlwind to this point, just with things on the job and recruiting, that I've not really had a whole lot of time to interact, in the community yet. But I hope to do that here in the coming weeks.
And yes, Coach, you made a great point about recruiting, because I want to ask you about this. So you've been from Edwardsville, and your experience coaching on the Conzo Martin and playing with Dwayne Wade and Marquette in the school proximity of St. Louis. Do you feel like these things all working for you will help you get guys to buy into you when you sit on the program and want to say, I want to come play for this guy at Edwardsville and go join SIUE Cougars?
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I'll assemble a staff of guys that are, either in or around this area, have ties to the region and again, names that people will recognize. I think that's important when you talk about recruiting. It's all about relationships, and who you know, really, at this point. So I think that goes a long way, that we can continue to build on and foster relationships that I've been able to develop, over the last 12 or 13 years. We were at Missouri State for 3 years and spent a lot of time recruiting over here. And even from Tennessee, we got this direction some. Not as much, obviously, this last year from California, but know a lot of people in the area, and it's, again, just continuing to build on those relationships that we have in place.
And I want to follow up there with you, Coach, because, you've been at Green Bay, plus you had the Marquette connection as well, and plus, you look at Missouri State, Tennessee, California. So, Coach, you pretty much have a wide range of places you can kind of tap into a network just based on your previous stops. And I think when I was doing my research, I think Coach really can get a lot of players to different areas because of where he's been at. And I know you feel like that helps you as well more than some coaches in the conference where you can kind of touch the West Coast, Midwest, East, because you kind of been in all these different areas.
Yeah, hopefully that'll prove to be an advantage for us. I mean, naturally, our goal is going to be to put a fence up in our immediate, 30 to 45-minute radius, but there's a lot of people that you can touch, even in a 5 to 6 hour radius. But then, like you said, even from the southeast and the west coast now to a certain extent. So, I think it is an advantage, that I've been tied to a lot of different areas, over the last 13 years. It's been fortunate for me that I've only worked for two guys, and I've not bounced around from program to program. So I know what it looks like to build a program, and do it the right way. We've done it, 4 different times now and have had success. And now I get the opportunity to do it on my own too.
And Coach, another question I want to have for you is very interesting to me. So in the coaching business, a lot of times you guys move around a lot, and I know you have a family. How does it affect your wife and your children when you have to move and you have to go here and go there? How does it affect the family? Like, I always want to ask coaches that because it always intrigues me how when you have to get up and move and a situation changes. So how do you all deal with that?
It's hard. I mean, that's definitely the hard part about it. My wife was an athlete, and she was actually a coach for a couple of years in high school. She understands, the sacrifices and the time commitment and the demands of the job. So, I mean, I think that's probably my biggest advantage is having a spouse that understands, kind of what's going on. It's tough on the kids. I mean, they're resilient. They're excited about this opportunity, again, coming back and spending some time with Grandma and Grandpa and their cousins in the area. But at the same time, it's hard, and our kids, 8, 6, and 4, are now at the ages where they kind of understand what's going on, and understand when I'm gone. Like right now, they're back in California finishing up school, and actually I'm here. So the separation part is tough, but, thank God for FaceTime and phone calls and those sorts of things.
Yes, indeed. And man, we're joined by SIUE Cougars new men's basketball coach John Harris joining us on the Bossman Show. And, Coach, going back to California and Coach Martin, what has he meant to you personally, and what has he meant to your career professionally, and also and what's the things that he instilled in you and you're just working for him on 7 years you work for him that you're going to bring with you to SIUE and help build this program like he's built different programs?
Yeah, it's honestly hard to verbalize. I mean, for me, as a man, as a father, and obviously as a coach, I've learned so much from him on a lot of different levels. When speaking specifically to this profession, just how to manage a program. Again, we were able to turn around Missouri State and win a Missouri Valley Conference championship, in year 3, first one in school history. Year 3 at Tennessee, we're able to take the team to the Sweet 16, and, he's going to turn the California program around. The recruiting is going really well for them, and they'll make great strides. So just the demeanor, and the even-keeled approach that he comes in with every day, the demand and the way he's organized and manages his time, manages the personalities on the roster, and entrenches himself into the community, I think are all things that are really important when you're trying to lay a foundation and build a program. He's really good at managing relationships, and I think that's, again, the biggest thing with your team from a recruiting standpoint within your campus community and your surrounding community. Those are things that he really excels in, and I've picked up a lot of things in that regard from him. He's been great for me even through this process. We talk almost every day or at least text, different things, and he's always giving me ideas and things I may not have thought about. He's reminding me because it's such a fast pace right now, and things are coming. It's almost trying to, like you're taking a drink out of a fire hydrant. There's just so many things coming at you, and he's been really good, for me to bounce thoughts and ideas off of, and again, I've learned a lot from him. Can't thank him enough.
I hear that. And when people watch your team play this year, Coach, and beyond, what are some things you want people to take away from watching your team play?
Hopefully what we're going to work toward, you'll be seeing a lot of similarities for what we've been, the last 7 years. Our guys are going to compete. They're going to play hard. They're going to defend and be physical. We'll have teams that can score the ball. We've averaged about 70 points everywhere we've been. So, our last year at Tennessee, we were one of 5 teams in the country to finish in the top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiency, which is obviously really hard to do. So we'll play the games on both ends, but, our guys are going to play together. They're going to play hard and compete, just play with the team before above self mentality. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Yes, indeed. I do love how when you guys used to play tough man-to-man defense, it was tough. You know what you're going to get, tough man-to-man pressure, being long and defending hard. So I look forward to seeing that from you guys. This is two Coach. I look forward to it. Thank you.
No, we're excited, man. I think you kind of touched on it. We'll have a lot of guys in that 6'2" to 6'6", 6'7" range. That have length and athleticism. And again have that versatility on both ends of the ball. I just think that it's an advantage. If you can switch certain things defensively, offensively. We like for our guards to be able to play in and out, be good rebounders and post. If they got smaller guys on them. We like for our bigs to be able to step out and shoot the ball and drive the ball from the perimeter. And again, I just think, having like sizes and length and athleticism really helps you. It's an advantage.
And, Coach, I'm always curious to ask you coaches about your non-conference schedule. I know what you've been new with this program, so there makes already games already been locked into, for money games, for already agreed on contracts with games. So how would you want to go about non-conference schedule? You want to have a tough schedule, kind of give them conference play, or kind of mix and match a little bit? So what's your attempt when you kind of go out and try to schedule non-conference games for your team?
I think that's so important. I really do. Naturally, like you said, our schedule more or less has been set in place, for this first season. But moving forward, we want to play tough teams, and we want to challenge our guys. At the same time, I think you've got to find a balance, and so much of this game is confidence. You've got to be careful that you don't overschedule and make things, really tough on your guys. You want to find ways to get wins, even here, but especially on the road, so they can build confidence going into league play. But we'll definitely play a tough and very competitive schedule.
And, Coach, this is a big debate that I've had with the coaches all year long about rules that should be changed going into the next season. Is there any rules like for use was maybe 12-second shot clock, maybe advance the ball to the front court? Are there some rules that you like these rules committee maybe touch on and make the game a little bit better? Because this year I feel like the game was just bogged down on certain things that could make it better. So what do you feel about that, Coach?
Honestly, I don't have any complaints. I would say the one thing that probably has not been consistent is the block charge. I know they've gone back and forth on it, the last several years. That's probably been the biggest thing for me, is just figuring out which direction to go with that and then sticking to it. I mean, as far as the shot clock goes, honestly, I don't know if it's going to make a whole lot of difference, 35 seconds versus 30 seconds. I don't mind the shot clock where it is, honestly. I think that, again, it just goes down to how you play the game. More times than not, you're going to take your shots, at least for us. I mean, when our shots are there, if it's, 29 on the clock, we're going to take it. If it's 9 on the clock, we're going to take it. We're going to take good shots. We're not going to stall. We'll get up and down the floor.
And one of your guys at Tennessee, Josh Richardson, who I got to know very well the last couple of years, do you see him being a pro player in the NBA or maybe in Europe somewhere? Do you think he opted to maybe a second-round draft pick in the NBA because it's coming up draft process?
Yeah, I think Josh has a great opportunity. I think it'll come down, to his workouts. I think he'll get invited, to several, individual workouts with teams, and it's going to come down to how he performs. I mean, he's got all the ability in the world. Josh is one of the best guys that I've had the opportunity to coach, and the growth that he made from his freshman year, to this last season, even though we weren't there with him, is really incredible, and it's a credit to him, and the time and sacrifice that he was willing to put into the game, and I think it'll pay off for him. I think he'll have a really good shot to get drafted and play in the NBA, but if not, he'll play in Europe a long time if that's what he chooses to do.
And, Coach, final question for you. I know you kind of alluded to it's been a whirlwind for you. So what has been a typical day for you, like the last few week or so that you've been in SIUE? How has it been for you for your days? Have they been long days? Have you been having some breaks here and there? How has it been for you, Coach?
We've been working out with our guys. Right now we get 2 hours a week. So we've gone Monday through Thursday for half an hour in the mornings. We have a 7 a.m. group and a 7:30 group. And then from there, they go spend some time in the weight room. So that's been my morning, and then, again, hopping on the phone, just returning calls. We have 4 scholarships on the board, that we're trying to fill right now, and I think you've got to be cautious with that, and make sure you're getting good people, and obviously people that fit, with what we're trying to do. So that's been, again, my morning, just working the phones, returning calls, but then obviously you mix in meetings, you're doing things with HR, you're trying to get things situated, and, I still have one opening on my staff, so we're trying to fill that hole, and, just a combination of a lot of different things.
Yes, indeed. Well, Coach, what? I'm glad to get you on the show. I'm happy you got the job at SIUE. I look forward to doing more interviews with you. You can go down the road, and I'll be keeping an eye on the Cougars this year, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome, Coach.
Take care. Yeah, bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.
And that was the SIUE Cougars new men's basketball coach, John Harris, on the Bossman Show.
All your photo, video, and voiceover needs, check out the fine folks at Blueberry Productions. They will take good care of you. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself. Check out their work at blueberryproductions.tv, the Facebook page, Blueberry Productions, also a Vimeo page, a YouTube page, and it's Blueberry, BLUBERRY, Prod on Twitter. Check them out today. Blueberry Productions, great people, great work, great service. Hip-hop fans, I got a great album for you. The debut album from Family Grind ENT, True Speech and 313 Fresh. We're going to give you 2 discs, 33 songs of pure, genuine hip-hop. Albums available on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, illstreetrex.com, and streaming live right now on Rhapsody, Beats Music, Spotify, Xbox Music, Slacker Radio, and SoundCloud. Check them out today. True Speech and 313 Fresh, Family Grind, ENT. Believe in it, get it.
And we're joined now by the new coach of SEMO, Southeast Missouri RedHawks, Coach Rick Ray. Coach, how you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing great, Coach. I want to tell you first, congratulations on getting this new gig at SEMO. We're very happy for you. We're glad you have the job in the OVC there at SEMO. And so tell us, Coach, what does it mean to get back into it this quickly? You know, after you was at Mississippi State, now you're back in the saddle real quick. So what does the opportunity mean for you, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was really happy to be presented this opportunity. A lot of times in this business, my former head coach at Indiana State, when he got fired about a decade ago, he said that in the coaching fraternity and coaching business, it's easy to become a head coach if you get fired for cheating or a scandal. But if you get fired for losing, they treat you like you have leprosy. So I'm glad that I had the opportunity to get back into the business here. And SEMO gave me a great opportunity that I just couldn't pass up.
And, Coach, I know knowing the coach business is definitely tough, Coach, and we're having a wife and kids. How was that for you, having a wife and kids, having to kind of pick up and move once opportunity or present yourself, not never knowing how long you're going to be at a place to get up and move? So how is that for you and your family as coaching and enjoying the business when that happened?
Well, fortunately, my kids are young. I have a 4-year-old son named Deacon, and I have a 1-year-old who's about to turn 2 in July named Mason. So they're, our kids are at that point in time. They just pick up and move. As long as they got a playground, they're fine. It becomes difficult, obviously, for your wife because she starts to establish friends and get a chance to get bonded to the community. But I think this is my wife's 4th move in 7 years. So, unfortunately, she's become accustomed to it.
Yes, indeed. Well, Coach, we definitely hope you can stay at SEMO for a good while. And, Coach, you've been in Cape Girardeau. How's the community been treating you so far since you've been up there?
Well, this is actually my first night. I went back after the press conference and meeting with the team for a day and took my family back to Starkville, Mississippi to get them settled in because they're still in school. Then my wife is going to come up and try to find a place there. But this is actually my first night in Cape Girardeau, and I've been in the office the whole time, so I have no idea yet.
I hear that, Coach. Well, I can tell you, I was going to Tennessee State, so I kind of know things around Cape Girardeau from those trips we should take. So if you need any advice, feel free to give me a call. I kind of know a little bit about Cape Girardeau for you, Coach.
Well, I'll be reaching out to you, no question about it.
Yes, indeed. And, Coach, with culture recruiting, it's a big thing with these gigs, man. You having roots in the Midwest from your previous stops. Do you feel that'll help you towards getting talent to come to SEMO since you kind of know the Midwest region and have ties in all those regions of the Midwest from your previous stops?
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. If you look back at my career, I've always been around the areas that's important to Southeast Missouri State. Starting off at Indiana State, I recruited the St. Louis area, with Indiana State just being 2 hours away from St. Louis. So that's important to Southeast Missouri State because we're just an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours away. If you look at my time at Purdue, I recruited the whole state of Illinois, and obviously there's proximity there to the state of Illinois, Southeast Missouri State. And then even if you look at Mississippi State, which is just 2 hours away from Memphis, Memphis is just 3 hours away from Southeast Missouri State. So there's a lot of places that I've touched in my past career that gives me a recruiting advantage here at SEMO.
And yes, Coach, and as far as the SEMO, I also feel like this will help you as well, Coach. what you've been an SEC coach, especially having in the Big Ten produced, that you have a name about yourself. You have credibility when they hear the name Rick Ray. So I feel like you will be able to get guys coming to SEMO. And I know you was in the SEC last year, but at the OVC, how do you see the conference being for you and your team? And I know you haven't had a chance to be with your team too much, but for what you've seen so far, you think you guys have some pieces to get things going next year?
Well, I tell you what, if you look at the preseason conference predictions, Southeast Missouri State was picked second right behind Murray State on that side of the division. So there's obviously a lot of talent here. People thought well of Southeast Missouri State. We missed some pieces. Our front line at this point in time has been decimated due to guys moving on with graduation, but we've got some really talented guys coming back in the backcourt, a talented swingman in Antonius Cleveland. So we've got some good pieces here in our perimeter. We just got to make sure we go out and find some post guys that will give these perimeter guys some success.
And I know some teams are already doing spring drills. Are you going to start there with the guys real soon, with going on the court for a few minutes each day here?
Yeah, there's no question about it. We want to get these guys on the court here. First, I got to put together a staff, and I want to do that here real quickly. I want to get somebody that can recruit the St. Louis area. I want to get somebody that can recruit the Memphis area, and then I want to get somebody who can just kind of get in the car and drive that 4 to 5 hour radius to touch all the Illinois junior colleges, the Illinois high schools. Arkansas, we're close to that, but on that drive to St. Louis, you can get all the Missouri talent and Missouri St. Louis talent, and then on that drive to Memphis, you can stop on the way there too and see a lot of talented kids. So once I put together a staff, we'll start getting these guys on the court, start working with them right away, because you want to build relationships with your team, and you do that on the court and you do it off the court as well too.
And, Coach, for the OVC fans out here and SEMO fans who have not watched your teams play before, what do you want the people to learn about your team when they play? What do you want the people to get the impression when they see your team play next year?
Well, for me, it's real simple. When somebody walks away from watching our game, I want them to walk away with 3 impressions about my team. The first thing is that my team played harder than the other team. Second thing is my team played tougher than the other team. And the third thing is my team played smarter than the other team. So if you can walk away with those 3 impressions, that means we've been pretty successful on the court. And, Coach, at the Final Four, when we was doing the interviews at the Final Four, a lot of coaches talked to us about rules they wanted to have changed. And a lot of things came up with the shot clock and maybe advancing the ball at the end of games. Is there any things, and widening the lane for the block charge? Is there any rules that you, in your mind, Coach, you would like to see tweaks for the upcoming season that may make the game a little bit better and more cleaner for the fans and for you guys to play and coach it? Well, I tell you, the thing that we've got to be careful about is I think a lot of times what happens is we implement rules without any sort of, study. I know that they did some things with the CBI tournament and as far as a 30-second shot clock. What I think we need to do is always accumulate data first. And once we accumulate that data, then let's make that move. But I think a lot of times what we do is we implement new rules without knowing the result. And so to me, we've got to make sure we do a lot of studies first before we just start implementing rules. Hey, maybe the 30-second shot clock is the answer. Maybe the 24-second shot clock is the answer. Maybe widening the lane is. Hey, but let's do some things as far as non-conference exempt tournaments and things like that, and make sure we're right about this instead of just throwing it up against the wall and see if something sticks. And, Coach, I know the rule I really like to see is the advancement of the ball to the front court at the end of games. I think that would be a great excitement for the end of games. It give you guys more of a chance of wasting those 4 or 5 seconds trying to run the ball off the court. You have more time to actually make a comeback and advance the ball to the front court. What do you feel about that, Coach? Well, I think you're referring to the NBA rule, and I think that's something that could be good for the game. But I know one thing that I think a lot about is I think there shouldn't be any live ball timeouts. I think the only time you should be able to call a timeout is during a dead ball situation. I just think that sometimes the game gets slowed down so much because of all these live ball timeouts toward the end of the game.
You're right. Coach, I agree with you totally about that because that kind of, as a guy who watches the game and writing articles, man, it's like, come on, let's just get over with. In the game, taking 25, 20 things or in the games. I know you out there like, oh, my God, come on. Let's get it together.
Well, I tell you what they should do, and it'll never happen, is what they should do is say we're playing a game and we average 60 points a game, and the team that we're playing averages 80 points a game. When we meet, you just take the average and, we're going to 70. And that would eliminate all the end-of-game situations like that because it takes time out of it. So, hey, we average 60, you average 80. When we play each other, we're going to 70, game over.
Hey, that'll be a nice concept there, Coach. It'll be very innovative. A lot of the guys out here they're just stuck in those old ways, and we can't get them to change up. And, Coach, and it's like a lot of listeners have asking me about, the whirlwind for you. I said I'll say it on the air, and I'm going to say why you on the air. I said it, you should have got better. And that's for me to say, not you to say it, but for me to say it. And I feel like, the RedHawks got a damn good coach in you. They got a good coach, and I'm so glad they gave you the opportunity to do so, And so is the whirlwind of that come along? So do you feel like the OVC is can get to the point of being one of the mid-major conferences that can get 2 bids? Because if you guys do very well, I feel like Murray State could have got a bid this past season with the season they had with Cameron Payne, those guys. You feel the OVC can get to the point where they get a 2-bid league rather than a 1-bid league?
Yeah, I think so. And if you look back at it, I don't think there's anybody that really studies college basketball that doesn't feel that if Murray State would have got in the field of 68, that they wouldn't have had success there. It's just a shame that a team wins 25 games in a row and doesn't get an opportunity to play postseason basketball. And what they really need to do is change the rules, and it'll never happen. But what should happen is if you win your regular season conference, you should get in automatically. What's more important, winning 18 games in a row or winning 2 or 3 games in a row? But I think that's what really should happen. And then what you have at the end, you still have the conference tournament. And so however many at-large bids are left is with how many at-large bids are left. But I just think it's ridiculous that a team like Murray State goes 18-0 in the conference and wins 25 straight games and doesn't get rewarded for their performance.
Exactly, on a fluke shot, because I was sitting right there at the Municipal Auditorium in Washington. It was a fluke shot. On a fluke shot, you lose out to when it goes to the big dance, and you're right. I agree with you, Coach. The automatic qualifiers should go to the league champions, the regular season. And then if you win your tournament, great. Okay, great. But as you said, they'll never change that. It's all about, how they want to do things. And, Coach, I tell you what, I'm glad. I told you before, I'm glad you got the gig. I felt you should have kept having the gig you had. I'm glad you got it. And we'll definitely be in contact with you, Coach, and look forward to seeing you at SEMO and getting the follow you got, Coach. I said, OVC is a conference I cover a lot, and we cover it on the show. We'll definitely have you on again real soon, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I'm excited about the opportunity to be the head basketball coach at Southeast Missouri State, and it'll be a fun ride.
Yes, indeed, Coach. No doubt. We'll keep grinding, Coach. We got you back over here at the Bossman Show.
Well, thanks for having me on.
No doubt, Coach.